Well, good morning, you beautiful souls. Good morning, everybody. We had some technical difficulties, so I apologize for that, but we were able to work it out. And so, welcome to the show, everybody. It's been a long time since I've done interviews, and I wanted to get back to it anyway. And Michelle reached out one day and was like, "Hey, let's do an interview about the EEOC." Because we have gotten some great questions in Blended Lines over the past 2 years about discriminatory practices in the workplace. And Michelle currently works for the EEOC and is a moderator. But before I go any further, Michelle, welcome to the Blended Lines podcast. And just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. I put the bio out there in the description, but these days most people don't read. So just tell tell us a little bit about your history, where you're from, and all that good stuff.
Hey, Blended Lines. So thank you, allow me to use your platform to talk about before we get into the actual conversation, a little bit about myself. I'm a transplant here in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm retired. So this is where my last duty assignment was. So I'm just here. Um, I retired from the military after 23 years of service. Prior to me retiring, I decided I wanted to practice law. So I attending Birmingham School of Law. Um, while I was attending law, I decided to continue on with my civil service and employment with the EEOC. I
Mm,
didn't plan on working for the EEOC for an extended time because I was going to pass the bar and then start my own practice.
mm,
But I enjoyed it so much, I continued. I did pass the bar, practicing attorney, but I'm also a mediator with the EEOC. I was in it for 12 years and decided that I wanted to do something different. So now I'm full time along with my practice.
mm.
I also have a small. I also I'm passionate about travel, and I'm the mother of two handsome men. So that's a little bit about myself.
That's awesome, man. And I know about your travel bug. I always mess with Michelle
Uh,
because
yeah,
the woman
need to go
cannot
somewhere
sit
right
still.
now.
Cannot sit still. She be all over the world traveling. But I get it, man. It's her outlet. And y'all know how I am about making sure you take care of yourself and self-care and have an outlet. So I'm not hating on her. I just like to mess with Michelle. She my big sister, y'all. So I think this is a great topic. I'm glad you reached out to talk about it. I have my own personal experience with the EEOC that I won't go into, but the EEOC um, is an organization, and then I'm gonna hand it over to you, Michelle. But I was just kind of doing my own little research. Um, Equal employer. Oh, this is a test. I'm putting pressure on myself. Equal employer EEOC. What's the O and the C? I knew it earlier.
It's the Equal Employment Opportunity Mission.
Okay. And what do you all do? What does it
It,
stand for, and what do you all do?
so the mission of the commission to eradicate discrimination in the workplace. It was born of the civil rights movement.
Okay.
So back in 1960, our flagship law is Title VII of 1964. The King was Martin in downtown Birmingham, and people of color um, not receiving the equal rights, the same rights of the majority. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission was. So that's our main mission, is to eradicate discrimination. And while this was not going on when I reached out, and that I reached out to you because I was getting um, um, I was being by individuals in regards to the process. that the EEOC goes through and what they deem to be discriminatory practices they're experiencing. But it's appropriate today because a lot in blended lines are sports fans, and so Coach Flores just initiated a class action lawsuit against the NFL,
Hmm.
where he is that discrimination in the NFL is fit. And an organization where 74% of the players are African American, you only have one black coach and no black. And so things such as that, which we call systemic, where it has a spirit impact on a group of people,
Hmm.
I think that is for us to talk about discriminatory practices in the workplace today, not on the systemic basis,
Hmm.
on an individual basis.
I'm glad you brought that up because I mean, I'm being transparent here, and that's what I do, y'all. I'm very transparent because I feel like my journey, my story, even the challenges, especially the challenges in my journey, when I tell people that, it can help inspire and make them feel better because when people know other people are going through something similar, it for some strange reason it makes us all feel better if we know somebody else is going through the same mud that we're going through. But I'm glad
Yeah.
you brought that up because that whole Flores, is that how you pronounce his last name? I hope that's it. Is a
Mhm.
trigger for me, right? Or somewhat of a trigger because I have dude, what is going on in the NFL is exactly what happens in corporate America. And um, I mean, I've experienced it. I've heard countless other people of color come to me, tears almost in their eyes, saying, I'm just tired of this. They already knew who they were going to hire. They wasted my time. You know what I'm saying? I'm more, most of the time, they're even more qualified than the other individual. And this individual, Joe Blow, come off the street, don't even have the same credentials as a person of color, slides right into a leadership power position, and there you go. So how can we stop that? What can the
I mean,
EOC do to help us with that?
that the commission is doing, I don't think that it's ever going to stop. It's organizations such as Blended Lines, where you have people of all different things. Now, before I continue on down that line, hey, um, discrimination is just not discrimination. You have religious, sex, sexual orientation, um, uh, uh, age discrimination if you're over the age of 40. You have a disability, and then retaliation. When I say retaliation because you complained that you were being treated differently because of your race, religion, sex, age, or disability. So it encompasses all of those things different from someone, not just color, because you're different.
Mhm.
But until different mindset, you're not going to be able um, to stop discrimination in the workplace, especially in those corporate settings where you have companies such as Amazon. And I'm just using Amazon as an example, is
Right.
not to say that we get a lot of cases from Amazon.
Right.
But if you're looking at Amazon and we just slapped them on the hand because the commission doesn't have any teeth. Commission was just what it says. It's a commission that we're supposed to look into of discrimination. It's not like the Department of Justice where we can actually find individuals or put them in jail or anything like that. The commission is just a filter to keep cases out of federal court
Mhm.
because in order for you to file a lawsuit, you have to come through the commission to get a right. And so until we get people to change the way that they think about people differently than them or have a different worship or whatever the case may be, their sexual origin. Over the last couple of years, we've had more coming in with transgender and people that are and so all of those things are things that we need to think about when we talk about or discuss discrimination in the workplace.
What are some common recommendations that you can give people? Like, let's say somebody's in a toxic environment at work, being micromanaged, the employee just can't do anything right. What do you recommend, or what recommendations do you have for that person out there that may be in a toxic work environment dealing with those issues? Because a lot of people
So,
don't know what to do, and then they're afraid on top of that.
so what I would say, so most right to work states, meaning that the employer can fire you for if you come into work and last week I had dreadlocks. Today I don't have no hair or very little hair.
Hmm.
And they decided they didn't like the way I look today. They
Right.
could fire me. And so
Wow.
um they
Really?
could fire you. Yeah. For anything unless it's discriminatory in nature. So
Wow.
because somebody may have a personal issue with you or a that's not something that you would come to the EEOC because they're not going to investigate it.
Right.
When at discriminatory actions that's taken against an employee, to be a comparative situation. So since race is the easiest to talk about race. So say for instance, um, and you're being counseled or reprimanded because you come to but John comes to work late. There's no reprimand of Johnny. He's even getting accolades or whatever. Y'all work is similar, but you're being, hey, if you come to work late one more time, we're gonna have to write you up. Most workplaces have a progressive disciplinary policy. That means that there are actions of discipline that occur before you get to term. So they're gonna write you up, but Johnny's still coming to work late, and there's nothing to him. That's a comparative situation.
Okay.
Um, both of y'all coming to work late, both of y'all getting reprimanded. You can't come. I'm being treated differently because I'm black. Because Johnny getting reprimanded, and somebody harassing you. The workplace is toxic. Um, is it because of your race, or that person just don't like you? So you have to differentiate, and we need to have situations to compare your situation with someone else.
Gotcha.
So determination as to whether discrimination is or is not occurring.
Gotcha. Do you all get a lot of filings for discriminatory practices?
We do found just as many. So if you, and this is public knowledge, y'all can Google it or go on the website. We probably between 15,000 to 20,000 cases a year nationwide. The EEOC is um, smallest federal government agencies. So here in Birmingham, and I know we have people all over the country, but because I'm in Birmingham, I talk more about Birmingham. So we probably get between 3,000 two 3,000 a year
Mm-hmm.
that of discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 to 5% of those cases we say have merit. Now, because people don't want to do their job and investigate thoroughly
Mm-hmm.
because it's a mess. It's a mess coming in, and it's really discriminatory issue.
Right.
Is because I don't like you. And because I don't like you, I'm gonna make your life miserable. It's not because I'm is race
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the other bases are.
Mm-hmm.
So um a lot of cases in, but a lot of them that come in are end up being dismissed.
Gotcha. So,
Mm.
so I mean, when it comes to the EEOC and the filing and the process, what's the process like? Like, if somebody did want to file?
So, and I'll let you put the website. You can put that remarks later.
Okay.
But you go to the website because we're working from home now. I have not been in my office in over 2 years. Well, 2 years on March the 13th. Only reason I go into the office is to water my plant. And so once a month I go up there and I water my plants. And everything is online now. So you go to www.gov. When you get
What?
there,
Mm-hmm.
you you fill out a questionnaire. And in the questionnaire, and this is where a lot of people cases get dismissed before it even start the
Mm-hmm.
process.
Mm-hmm.
I know and I know I'm discriminated against myself. Like I said, discrimination isn't just about race, it's about religion, age. And so I've experienced it at sea. It's and so the
Uh,
flagship organization, they're not perfect. And so
right.
fight with them there as well. And on top of that, I'm the union steward. So I'm constantly in a posture of fighting.
Right.
Um, so a lot of people, when they fill out here, they're still in their grieving process because it you're having something where you feel like you're being wronged. It's just like something you go through a grieving process,
Yeah.
and so they still in that grieving process. So what I suggest to people grieve first before you come to the EEOC because you're going to start opening up your mouth and saying some things that's going to
Hurt
make
you?
it bad. Yeah, it's going to hurt you. And while it is personal, once you come to the EEOC and file an action, it's now a business transaction. There's no more personality in it. So do your grieving and then come to us. You have 6 months. It's 180 days from the time you could take action at the EEOC. So go through your grieving process audit from the business perspective
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to right, but you need to wrong that right from a business aspect, not from a place. Because sometimes people put more on value themselves as opposed to what their employer may value them as. Like I think $1 million, but if I try to sue the EEOC for $2 million, I'm not gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make $7.25 an hour, do not come in thinking this is the lottery and you gonna get
30
a
million.
well, the cap is 1,000, but the employer has to have more than 400 and 500 employees for you to get 300. So if you
Okay.
coming in and the employer only made so much, and again, you only made $7.25, don't even think about getting hundreds of thousands of dollars because that is not. So once you go to the website, go into the portal, initiate the charge, you say you want to file a charge, then you set up an appointment. When you set up an appointment, on the day of your appointment, an investigator will call and ask you what's going on. And they're looking at that comparative situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you never come up with a comparative situation, um, anywhere, they're probably at the end of the interview is going to say, "Well, I don't think that you have enough information for us to advance this towards an investigation, but you have a right to sue." The only time they don't comparative situation is for a disability claim. Like for instance, you have you got a disability. You have advised them of the disability has taken you off work for a period of time. You need an accommodation to,
Mhm.
we don't need a comparative situation. By law, they're supposed to engage in conversations with you to see what will get you, put you in the right space, the right place to allow you to continue to work.
Right.
After they've done the interview, they've initiated the complaint to see me. As a mediator, I try to resolve it before it gets to the investigatory stage. Sometimes there's a communication, or sometimes something didn't come across right. Um, Blatant discrimination, and so before an employer or spends money on an attorney, we try to get into the pocket of the employee and try to get it resolved. And so that's the process. The process is simple,
Hmm.
but getting people to convey what it is they feel occurred without them becoming emotional, and or not being able to articulate properly comparative situation where they were being treated differently than somebody else.
Gotcha. And that's hard. And I love what you said. I mean, I've never put it in a perspective like that, but I love what you talked about as far as the grieving process. Because you and I both, I've been discriminated against. You said you've been discriminated against. For me, it took a really big mental toll because, for people like me, um, I'm one of those people where I'm already hard on myself. You know, I used to be a
Mhm,
perfectionist. I've gone away from that because that's not healthy. But I'm still hard on myself. I take my integrity very important. My integrity is very important. And so
mhm,
when I don't do something wrong, I mean, when I do something not correctly, I already have to deal with myself, right? And in a toxic environment, then there's other things that's just going to pound. So for me personally, I was being hard on myself, then a manager, then, other people. And it can really break you down. It can destroy you if you let it. So
mhm.
for the person out there who is on a job, they're terrified. All right. Because again, most people are so afraid to speak up and say something in fear of retaliation. And retaliation does happen, y'all.
It
Um,
does.
it does. And I mean, it can get super ugly, right? So there is a legitimate concern of being afraid. I try not to dwell in fear, but look, I had anxiety, I was depressed. I was a mess, y'all. So to the person out there who was in that same situation, Michelle, what advice would you give them? Like they're terrified, they're depressed, they got anxiety, they don't know what to do, where to go. What do you tell them?
Well, what I would say is, I mean, we have those fears. We all have, but sometimes you just have to step out on faith.
No.
Um, I'll take it from my own personal perspective, and I give some more. Um, so I work at the EEOC, um, discrimination, not just because of the way that I look, but also because I'm a union steward. Union steward is also a protected in the EEOC.
Okay.
I'm always in a fighting posture. Um, on Friday, when I think I sent you a text or something like I just need to rest
Yeah. Yeah.
because I was fighting on Friday.
Right.
Like, man, you get tired of being sick and tired. And I'm tired. I was tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of fighting with these people trying to protect me so they can get what they need to get so they can be able to help people such as the public that's coming in complaining about what's going on in their job. They
Hmm.
can't they because they getting beat across the head by these people that's discriminating against them They're supposed to be helping people out. And
Right.
so if you never take that leap of faith, you're going to keep going through the stuff that you go through. We
Right.
have people that come in and they complain and say, well, I got this witness that did that that's going to speak up to me. And I ask them, is that work for the company? Because they said they'll speak up, but when it's choose between their job and speaking up on your behalf, be fired. Why am I going to put myself in that situation? And
Right.
they don't. But then the next month, the same thing that happened to their friend has happened to them. And now at the EEOC asking for assistance. And so if you never speak up, it's to protect you. Not we can't keep you from getting fired or whatever action occurred, but you can
Mm-hmm.
file an action to get a remedy to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people lay your foundation and laying your foundation being discriminated against, put it in writing. Hey, you have a conversation with some like, hey, I think I'm being mistreated because I'm black or or because I'm homosexual, whatever the basis is. You conversation with them, and then you go followed up with an email. Hey, during the conversation about me feeling that I'm being mistreated because of whatever. Because then when there's a retaliatory action for you complaining, you got it in writing.
Mm.
It's not say you have documentary evidence to support your allegation. But if you don't say nothing, if you continue to let it fester, it's not gonna get any better because that person think they got you by the neck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna say anything. It's the same thing with somebody being sexual. You're going through this harassment because it's the boss. Well, they're viable for that harassment or somebody in management. Well, how do you know? Well, you need to tell somebody. Is it even if you just tell the janitor, whoever it is, you need to tell somebody and then put it in writing.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in everything that you do is nature. Just shoot off at like often on a roll our neck and tell our bosses or our managers what we're not gonna do. But this not your company. You're
Right.
not the owner. You're getting paid to provide a service or
Yep.
to do to perform a function. So you telling somebody that you're not gonna do something and you get paid, calm down, calm yourself down,
That's great advice.
do
Yeah.
a woosah,
Yeah.
and then have a conversation. Y'all grown. Have a grown-up conversation about your feelings and then put it in writing.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna ask, and you already hit on it. I was just gonna ask what type of documentation do you recommend that people have? So emails. One question I do have, because I don't know what the legalities around this is, if it should ever go to court, but is it legal? Let's say the manager, micromanager from hell, evil person, you go have a meeting with them. Uh, Before you go in, you hit the little record app on your iPhone and go in there and put your phone on the table face down. Can that be used?
It's legal. In
It's legal.
Alabama. Now I don't know every state, but in the state of Alabama, as long as you are in the conversation, then you can record it.
Okay.
For EEO, even if it wasn't legal in other states, we're not a court of law.
Oh.
Um, record all you want
Oh,
to
wow.
record.
Hey, that's good. I didn't think
We can
about that.
use that. Yeah, we can use that during the investigation. So in others, it may not be legal. It may not be admissible in court, but for the EEOC's investigation, it can still be used. As long as you are a party to the conversation, you can record.
Gotcha. That's
Hmm.
good. That's good information, man. I really wanted to do an hour. Um, I want to do this again. I know we had some technical difficulties, and I have a lot more questions. So we're gonna do this again, man, um, soon, because
I
I
mean,
really feel like this is a great time to be talking about this with the shift that's going on.
mhm,
Uh,
mhm,
I feel like employees have a temporary advantage right now. I mean,
mhm,
these companies are looking for good employees, and then on the employee side, they're not trying to work for pennies anymore. So it's
mhm,
the employee's advantage right now. So if you all, and look, this is coming from two people who have experience in this. All right. My situation, I can tell y'all, if you don't say anything, it can literally kill y'all, man. I mean, if you are in a toxic environment to where you are depressed, you have anxiety, you're stressed, you're losing sleep, you're on medications. I was on all of that. All right. I mean, medication to sleep, medication for anxiety. All the job was killing me, um, until I said something. So it's so important. Look, love yourself enough to say something or to speak up. Don't go to that job every day feeling sick, uh, depressed, miserable. You were not put here to live like that. All right. And I ain't even mean to go off on this tangent, so somebody obviously needs to hear this. But seriously, like Michelle said, you got to step out on faith. Even if you're a believer or not, y'all, you got to step out on faith and just believe that if you say something and speak up, even if you get fired, it's gonna work out. But nobody deserves to be treated like crap. All right. You
let
got
me
to understand that.
let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Usually when I'm interviewing somebody or speaking with somebody that's come to the, I'll tell them, and I'm a person of faith. I
Yeah.
don't know if everybody, and so I'll tell them sometimes you got to go through some trials and tribulations, and then sometimes God is moving you out of the situation that to something better.
Right.
And if you hadn't gone through the situation, you would never move because you
Right.
were complacent. You were complacent with activity that was going on in that particular environment, and you would just stay there and take. So sometimes you have to be moved in order to get to your destiny.
I
Iterate.
love that.
You need to grieve the process. I was meeting on Friday after I was fighting with my I'm mediating this case, and the young lady, I mean, she just broke down.
Mm,
She was filing a complaint against a employer that they had fired her, and then after they fired her, they brought her back thinking they dismiss her case. And so she's crying, and then on top of this, she quit twice. Her mother had passed, and it's a whole bunch of stuff that was going on. And I told her, young lady, you're not ready for this yet. You're not ready. And she was represented by counsel,
mm-hmm.
ready for this process yet. You filed the case, but you need to step back and breathe and grieve. Not only did you not have the proper time to grieve the death of your mom, you haven't had the proper time to grieve what's going on in this world. And we're not going to resolve it here today. I want y'all to step back and talk. But work with these people now. Now you got to look at them every day.
Right.
You got
Right.
to look at them. They looking at you out the side of your neck, and you looking at them out the side out of your neck. And
Can-
it's not going to be a good environment for you to work in. So you need to figure out what it is exactly that. Let's come back and talk about it again. But give yourself a little bit of time to grieve what what has transpired, and then come back this aspect. Because when you come to the EEOC, you want some money. Most of the time, you want some money for whatever it is that you had to go through. People
right.
want justice and all of this stuff. The bottom line, you want some money. You want a check. A check is a business transaction. So treat it like the business transaction that better at the end of the day.
That's great advice, man. That is great advice. I mean, even I learned something, man, where I wish I had known that at the time, but I didn't know about the grieving process. But you are absolutely right. I had to grieve. I was hurt. I was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was hurt, yo. I mean, I was, but then I was also putting my worth in other people's hands. And that's a whole nother story right there. But yeah, I love that because I was hurt, man. I mean, I shed some tears. Like, why are they treating me like this? Like
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm a good worker. Why can't I remember telling myself, I just need a win, because when you are hit with constantly back to back repercussions, just putting your foot on somebody's neck, back to back to back to back. And I just remember saying, I need a win. I just need something to boost my confidence because he was destroying it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so after that situation and I came out of it, I promised myself that I would never put my worth in anybody else's hands. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm so big on healthcare. I mean, self-care, y'all. When you love yourself like crazy, it ain't a damn thing somebody can say out here that's gonna bring your
Mm-hmm.
spirits down. Cause you know better. I'm sorry, y'all. We gotta wrap it up here. I normally do an hour, but we had some difficulties and we can't do the whole hour. But Michelle and I are going to do this again. I promise. I just really feel like people need to hear more of this right now. Looking at the climate that we're in. Michelle, I'm gonna leave it to you before we leave. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Uh, Michelle, thank you for coming on. You'll be back soon, and I'm gonna just pass it over to you so you can take us out.
Said, thank you for allowing me to use this platform to talk about the as before. If anybody has any questions, just reach out to me and I assist you as much as I possibly can. But again, if I can't anything else, you need to go through that grieving process so you can treat it like the trend is. It's a business. It's business. You were hurt,
Mm.
and we understand that. But at the end of the day, it's a transaction. It's a lawsuit.
Wow.
Take your emotions out of it. Take your
Yeah,
emotions out of it. Give your opportunity to treat it as it is, and you'll come out better in the end. That's
that's
it.
that's great advice, sis. Well, thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you. Blended lines, man. Y'all have a great day. It's a great day to be alive. Y'all know my motto. All right. Be
Peace.
love, be kind, be a blessing, y'all. All right. Michelle, thank you again. I appreciate you, sis.
All right. Talk at you later.
Y'all have a great one.
Bye.